It's only an election where a Republican ends up winning. What could possibly go wrong? Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Succession Season 4, Episode 8, America Decides Together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, give some love to that subscribe button as well. And hey, if you are a fantasy fan or you have a fantasy fan in your life and you dig stuff like swords and magic and curses, then maybe consider taking a peek at this. This is called We Were Wizards. It's a new fantasy novel series that is taking a very small fraction of the world by storm because I wrote it, and you can get it right now on Amazon.com. I'll put a link in the description below. The first one is this purple one, followed by this silver one. I released two at once because I'm a maniac like that. But We Were Wizards is a ton of fun for the fantasy fan in your life. It's got magic sapphires. It's got magic scepters and staffs that the wizards carry. It's lots of good fun. So check out We Were Wizards right now on Amazon. You can get the ebook as well as a paperback or these handsome hardcovers if you're into that. Today's tale is a tale of an election most foul, where we end up seeing the behind-the-scenes chaos in the newsroom at ATN as America decides, hence the title, who will be their next president. Spoilers, it's not going to be Connor. What intrigues me the most about this episode is just how awful and frightening this tale that it weaves comes across, because it's true to life, unfortunately. Because, we are drawing parallels to Fox and the News Corporation, and they did this once upon a time, and other big corporations continue to do this currently upon a time, where you have billionaire CEOs who are making all these little backroom deals, particularly with Republican nominees, because they know that those people can play ball, and if you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and at the end of the day, you end up with a government built on the foundation of doing favors for rich buddies, which is exactly what is wrong with the world at large today. And this, I think, is one of the most transparent showcases of that in fiction, period. Because not only is there a huge bias at ATN to skew right, but there is also a huge bias, if you zoom in personally, to the people who own ATN to skew right in order to meet their own interests and in order to just resolve petty disputes. Because as we see at the end of America Decides, Kendall is swayed to call the vote strictly on the fact that he wants to shoot back at his sister for betraying him about something else entirely unrelated. The whims of these sociopathic maniacs with fat wallets can spell the difference between life or death for billions of other people on the planet. And the flippant nature with which these whims are carried out is horrific. It is the stuff of nightmares. And Succession has always been good at displaying that in a darkly comic light, and this is no exception. It just hits close to home for me, even though I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but we feel the brunt of whatever goes down there too, right? Whatever happens to them, we get the backwash. So this stuff has affected me by and large. And now I'm kind of watching, even though it's a fictionalized version of it, I'm watching it in action. And it's infuriating, and it's scary, and it's hilarious. And it really is the perfect summation of what an absolute farce modern politics is. At least in the Western world. That farce reaches so far as to include things like one of the members of the ATN team getting wasabi in his eye and then having it be made worse by Greg, who delivers the best line of the episode, where Greg accidentally pours lemon water into this guy's eyes to try to wash the wasabi out. And when he's told that that is what happened, he takes a sip of the water and frantically claims, "It's not that lemony." These are the people calling the shots. Let's just, again, we have to put that front and center. These are the people making decisions that will ruin lives halfway across the world. The biggest takeaway from the end of America Decides for me is that knowing we have 2 episodes left in this whole series. I am wondering if they're going to go down this particular road, which is, by the time this episode ended, we saw all of the plans Siobhan's been making this season crumble. She got discovered, they found out she was in league with Matsson, they found out that she was lying to them about everything, and the brothers just flipped out on her and turned their backs to her. Her plans have fallen apart. The way this episode ended made me wonder if the final two are not going to poetically follow up on that. The promo featured Roman extensively as he's preparing for the funeral speech, so I'm wondering if maybe next week all of Roman's secret plans and agendas are going to fall apart. Is Roman going to lose whatever pedigree he holds with this new president? Is Roman going to lose all of his allies and have his siblings turn their backs on him because of the erratic behavior he's been showing and because of how he has basically made every wrong choice since coming to power after Logan's death? Is that all going to be aired out, and is he going to crumble the same way Siobhan crumbled this week? And if that's the case, will the final episode do the same thing to Kendall? That's an interesting road they could go down, and it is symmetrical, and it does kind of bookend everything really nicely, even though I'm still of the mind, based on the video I made about 4 weeks ago, where I think it would be way cooler to end this show in a way that says, congratulations, you've gotten what you wanted, Kendall or whoever, now you are your father. And they could still go that route. Both, they could have their cake and eat it too. Everybody could potentially get a little slice of what they want, but then realize, oh crap, I'm just Logan 2.0. Yeesh. And I could be wrong, but based on what people were saying, if you remember last week at the party that Siobhan and Tom were holding, Tom kept talking about how tired he is, and he went to bed early saying, I have a huge day tomorrow with the election. This week they brought up, hey, last night at the party we saw Greg talking to Matsson. What was up with that? Last week's episode was the day before this week's episode, and they were both kind of set on one night. And Siobhan made a comment last night when she was arguing with Tom, when she told him she was pregnant, by the by, with his baby, which who knows how true that is. We can't believe anybody anymore. But she makes a comment saying, my father just died. And she stresses he just died. Okay, for us, that was like a month and a half ago. That was episode 3 of the season. We have just seen episode 8. So I can't help but wonder, and I'd like to go back and when I rewatch this, see if this is the case, but it feels like since Logan's death, every episode that follows has been one day. Is that what's happening? If I'm wrong, comment, let me know. If I'm right, comment, let me know, because I can't seem to find anybody verifying that. But that's what it sounds like. It's just one day, which would mean this coming episode, which is the funeral, is about 6 days / a week out from the death, which if you think about real life, that is usually the case. They don't wait any longer than a week to hold a funeral because bodies start to smell bad, kids. I think that's kind of an interesting, cool little thing that they're not even really spotlighting, but it makes it that much more interesting. It makes it kind of feel like there's a ticking clock happening here. And I'm glad we're finally getting to this funeral because I was afraid we were never going to see it. And I wanted to just see what kind of hot mess this funeral turns into. Who's going to say the wrong things? Is anybody going to say a right thing? How is it all going to play out? And it looks like Roman is already skating on thin ice, just based on what we saw in the promos. That excites me, finally getting to see this funeral business. What did you think of America Decides? Who do you think started the fire in Wisconsin or wherever it was? Does it even matter? I don't know. But ATN, just like its real-life counterparts, is a scum pit. But anyway, that is all for today for Thumb Together. That is all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all here next time. And until then, adios.